The movie opens with a fierce battle between a boy who is Kang's brother and an evil sorcerer named Shang. In this lopsided fight under a darkened sky, Shang emerges as the victor and subsequently steals the poor boy's soul. Suddenly, Kang wakes up from this horrible nightmare in which he witnessed his brother's death. However, the nightmare turns out to be true because he receives a letter from his grandfather saying that his brother is dead, forcing Kang to return home immediately. Meanwhile, a policewoman named Sonya Blade is currently pursuing a one-eyed criminal named Kano. Unbeknownst to her, Kano is working under the evil sorcerer. Shang wants to use Kano as bait to lure the lovely policewoman to Mortal Kombat, a cosmic tournament that has to be won 10 consecutive times by one realm to conquer another. At the same time, in Los Angeles, a martial artist and movie star named Johnny Cage is tired of being treated as a fake martial artist, making him leave the filming site out of frustration. While returning to his actor chair, Johnny sees that his master is sitting there instead. The master convinces Johnny to join the tournament to prove he is a legit martial artist. He then informs Johnny that the ship will come tomorrow night at the Hong Kong pier. However, the master before Johnny is actually Shang in a disguise, who wants to recruit the actor because he knows he has what it takes directly to participate in Mortal Kombat. On the other side, Kang, who is fresh out of America, has just returned to reunite with his grandfather in the Order of Light, which is an organization of monks that picks the best warrior to represent Earth in Mortal Kombat. He then learns from his grandfather that the Mortal Kombat tournament is the catalyst for his brother's death. Because of this, Kang is determined to join the tournament to avenge his brother. He haphazardly announces to the Order of Light that he will attend Mortal Kombat, but they immediately reject it because they believe he is still not up for the task. At this point, a godlike figure named Lord Raiden appears in front of the monks wearing some clothing that belongs to a beggar. He then reprimands Kang for what he is about to do simply because he is fueled by vengeance rather than the noble goal of saving the world. Kang naively thinks that Raiden is just a mere beggar, which is why he does not want to attack him. But being called a scaredy cat really provokes him, so he thoughtlessly lunges toward him but ends up being flipped over. Infuriated by everything, Kang decides to join the tournament even without the Order's blessing and consent. And so, the three key players are now gathered the following night at the Hong Kong pier, each with a different agenda in mind. Johnny wants to prove he's not a fake artist, Kang wants to avenge his brother's death, and Sonya, who is still unaware of the existence of the tournament, is just there to kill Kano. In their first meeting, the egotistic Johnny mistakes Kang for a dock worker, instructing him to move his baggage. Finding this disrespectful, Kang dumps the actor's things into the sea. While everyone is waiting, a large old wooden ship suddenly emerges out of the fog. This turns out to be their boat to get to the tournament, and the fighters immediately get on board. From a distance, Sonya is observing whether or not Kano is one of the men boarding the ship. Upon seeing the one-eyed criminal board the ship, she thoughtlessly leaves her post to pursue the criminal despite her current partner's warning. Johnny is supposed to approach Kang to rebuke him for dumping his things into the sea. Instead, he bumps into Sonya, who asks for Kano's whereabouts. Learning that Johnny has no idea who she is talking about, Sonya proceeds below the ship, followed by Johnny and Kang. Below the ship, Sonya meets Shang, who seems displeased to see her there. The other two fighters arrive shortly. Seeing that the trio he has secretly gathered is all in one place, Shang then introduces the presence of two ninjas named Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Without a warning or a reason, the two ninjas immediately assume their battle stances, with Sub-Zero even freezing Sonya's gun and Scorpion showing his other worldly weapon in his hand. Fortunately, Raiden swoops in and zaps the two ninjas just before they can make a move against the trio. He then criticizes the evil sorcerer for deviously placing the trio's lives in danger even before the tournament has commenced. Shang apologizes for this and leaves, although he does not look remorseful at all. Seeing Raiden's electrifying entrance earlier, Kang now believes that he is the real godly figure. They then follow Raiden upstairs. There, the trio is informed that since the Mortal Kombat tournament has now reached its 10th and final iteration, the evil forces that Shang serves only need one more win to conquer Earth. Suddenly, a holographic image of a blazing skull appears in the night sky, symbolizing that the infamous Mortal Kombat has begun. By sunrise, the ship has arrived near the island where the tournament will be held. The fighters then continue their travel to the island via boats. While on one of the boats, Sonya still tries to contact her current partner via walkie-talkie to report what is happening so far, but this is futile because there is no signal. Upon reaching the shore, Kang informs her that the reason why she cannot contact anyone is because they are currently nowhere, as indicated by her faulty compass. Afterward, the fighters make their way to the tremendous and intimidating Dark Castle owned by the evil sorcerer. But the journey to get there is already difficult and exhausting due to the great number of stairs they have to climb. Finally, the fighters reach the infamous castle in which Kang spots a woman named Princess Katana sitting under an umbrella. They briefly share a rather intense gaze before Kang proceeds to the banquet with other fighters. Shang then appears and instructs Reptile, who is actually a nearby statue of a lizard, to guard Katana away from the fighters and prevent their interaction. This is because Katana is the heir to the Emperor's throne, and interacting with the humans might influence her to betray them. Later on in the banquet, Shang welcomes and introduces the fighters to the tournament. He then instructs his goons to show the fighters a teaser of the kind of battles that they are about to face. As such, a brief battle ensues between Sub-Zero and a random goon, which ends rather quickly as Sub-Zero wins with a flawless victory. Though knowing it's actually a warning to fighters, the fearless Kang still wants to attack Shang despite not being ready yet. Fortunately, Johnny stops him before he can do something that can jeopardize their lives. Sonya, however, is hellbent on finding and killing Kano, so she does not care at all about the consequences of pursuing the one-eyed criminal. After a while of walking, the trio eventually sees Kano eating at a dinner table inside a great cavern while talking to a gigantic four-armed monster named Goro. Still unnoticed by Kano and Goro, the trio decides to eavesdrop on their conversation. Goro feels confused as to why Kano, who looks weak, can be here. However, just as he is about to attack Kano, Shang arrives to stop him. He then tells Goro that Kano is an underworld boss back on Earth despite his weak appearance. Shang then instructs Kano to humiliate Sonya in their upcoming battle and warns Goro about Kang, who is the so-called Chosen One. But Goro arrogantly dismisses this information as he believes he can easily crush Kang. Hearing this notable information, the trio decides to leave the place, but Shang notices their presence and signals one of his guards to get them. As they are leaving, the trio notices that they are suddenly lost because the pathway has changed into a narrow tunnel with a bluish hue. At the end of this tunnel, they see a faint figure of Katana holding a torch. Despite Johnny's warning, Kang is eager to approach the princess, leaving the two fighters behind. As Kang searches for the princess in the dark caverns, he suddenly gets assaulted by Reptile, who quickly leaves unseen. With Johnny and Sonya arriving shortly after, the confused Kang informs them that something attacked him while he is unaware. They resume their escape but find no one there with them. After walking through a cobwebbed pathway, the trio realizes that they have gone back to the cavern. Suddenly, enemies from all sides arrive to attack them, but the three easily beat them. After the battle, Raiden comes out of nowhere, praising them for their show of strength and teamwork. He then assists the trio out of the cavern because another round of enemies is coming. According to Raiden, Shang can join the tournament anytime he wants, and that fighting against him feels like fighting 100 men due to the many souls he collected. The next day, Kang is the first one to fight as the tournament officially starts. His opponent is a black martial artist. After trading punches and kicks, Kang emerges as the victor, and Shang quickly takes the soul of the loser. The next to fight is Sonya. While she is warming up, Shang informs her that her enemy is Kano, causing her to be laser-focused for the match. At the beginning of the battle, Kano shows Sonya a knife, which was used by him to kill her partner. Kano thought he could demoralize her, but instead, she is motivated by anger. As such, she quickly gets the upper hand over him and quickly places the criminal in a headlock using her legs. Without remorse, Sonya finishes the job and snaps the criminal's neck, killing him. Meanwhile, in a forest on another part of the island, another fight is going on, with Johnny fighting Scorpion, the yellow ninja from earlier. Immediately, Scorpion attacks the actor with his unworldly chain weapon, but Johnny evades it by using the trees. Johnny then attempts to kick the ninja, who teleports instead to another location, taking Johnny with him. They resume their battle in an abandoned mine shaft. Johnny tries to get away from the ninja by climbing up the platforms, but Scorpion quickly knocks it down. He then removes his mask to reveal a skull underneath, and then delivers a fireball from his mouth. Luckily, Johnny repels this by using a nearby shield. Then using the shield, Johnny slices the ninja up, resulting in his explosion and death. The next battle is between Kang and Katana. However, this is an unconventional fight because Katana does not really attack him with full force and instead gives him advice for his later battle. She then allows herself to lose, which makes Shang really disappointed. Immediately after this battle, the next enemy Kang faces is the blue ninja Sub-Zero inside a temple. He immediately realizes that this one is much more difficult than his earlier opponents. Sub-Zero uses his ice powers against him. At this critical moment, Kang sees a bucket of water on the ground and hurls it to his foe, thus defeating the ninja and winning this battle. Seeing the numerous victories from Earth's side, Shang finally sends Goro to wreak havoc against them. As a result, Goro defeats multiple fighters with ease using his brute strength, including a black martial artist that the trio knows very well. After seeing their friends defeat, the three start to think that there is no way they can defeat the imposing Goro. Raiden motivates and encourages them to face their individual fears first. For this reason, Kang tries to meditate so he can alleviate his fears, but all he receives is the nightmarish vision of his brother's death coming back to haunt him. Meanwhile, Johnny tells Sonya that he will face Goro for her, but Sonya gets irritated by this because it is a stupid and egotistical move. Despite Sonya's protest, Johnny proposes his plan to Shang, who immediately thinks it is stupid as well. However, he grants Johnny's request on the condition that he can challenge whomever he wants after the battle, and Johnny accepts the condition. Raiden tries to interfere with the deal, but it is already too late. Before leaving the fight, Johnny tells Raiden that he is doing it for Earth, making the Lord glad because someone finally understands their responsibility. As such, Goro and Johnny face each other in a one-sided match. But as soon as the battle starts, Johnny instantly punches the monster's precious balls. The punch momentarily incapacitates Goro, and Johnny takes the opportunity to move away. But Goro quickly catches up to him. Johnny arrives at a precipice and then attacks Goro, who is unfamiliar with fighting in such terrain. With one final kick, Goro falls off the cliff and dies. Due to this unforeseen turn of events, Shang holds Sonya hostage, telling Johnny and Kang that this is still part of the deal because Shang declares Sonya as his opponent. The evil sorcerer then transfers Sonya to another dimension. Raiden informs the two that Shang has headed back to Outworld. Upon learning this, they proceed to rescue their comrade. In the Outworld, which is grim and dark, Kang notices that something is following them in the shadows. He then snatches a camouflaged reptile from the walls and throws it to the chest of a nearby statue. For some strange reason, the statue devours Reptile and becomes one with the creature, transforming into a green ninja that quickly attacks the unprepared Kang. A battle ensues, with Kang noticing that his enemy's movements are much faster and unpredictable than his prior opponents. Still, he manages to overcome his foe by delivering precise strikes. He then tops it off by a series of flying kicks toward the green ninja, defeating him. The statue reverts back into its original form and throws Reptile out, which is squashed by Kang like a bug. After this battle, Katana appears out of nowhere and asks Kang to follow her. The princess reveals that her parents were the rightful ruler of Outworld before the Emperor's ruthless takeover. If the fighters lose this final mortal combat, the grim state of the Outworld will absolutely happen to Earth. Meanwhile, Sonya is held captive on the highest floor of the Black Tower. Some hooded men enter the room, followed by Shang, who informs her that she has to fight to save Earth, but Sonya refuses. Shang is delighted by this because this means the Emperor's forces have won by default. At this time, the hooded men beside reveal themselves, who are actually Johnny, Kang, and Katana, making Shang jump out of his skin. Kitana then tells him that he has to challenge another fighter or else the Emperor will view this as an act of treachery. Having no choice, Shang challenges Johnny because he is the winner of the previous fight. However, Kang volunteers to challenge him and Shang agrees. Finally, the long-awaited battle between the two commences, immediately starting off with an intense exchange of strikes. At one point in the fight, Kang manages to make his enemy bleed, angering Shang, who has never experienced this before. For this reason, he lets out some of the souls he has gathered throughout the ages to aid him in battle. But Kang still manages to defeat the fighters one by one. He then confronts his main foe, who has gone to the second floor of the arena. There, the deceptive Shang utilizes his sorcery to transform into Kang's brother. For a brief moment, it seems that Kang will fall prey to the trickery. Shang has even prepared some spikes in the arena so that he can throw him there, but Kang manages to compose himself and sees through his trick. Realizing that the ruse is useless, Shang returns to his form and continues his attack, even managing to overpower Kang in the process. However, Kang stands up yet again to face his adversary, noticing that he is losing control of the souls he has. He takes this advantage to gain the upper hand over Shang and delivers a final electrified punch, sending his opponent down to the spikes. Shang has finally died, instantly turning into a dried-out skeleton. With his defeat, the innumerable souls he has gathered are finally set free, including Kang's brother. The brothers' reunion is bittersweet because Kang's brother tells him that they will meet again someday. Until then, his brother will be with him in spirit. With this victory, the conquest of Earth is finally thwarted, which of course calls for a celebration. Back on Earth, in the Temple of the Order of Light, the young monks joyfully run and play due to the important occasion. Johnny, Kang, Sonya, and Kitana all return to Earth to celebrate this victory. While walking toward the temple, the group meets Raiden, who immediately congratulates the fighters for their great achievement. However, this celebratory mood is quickly cut short by the unexpected arrival of a new enemy. Arriving in black clouds and thunderous skies, it turns out that the Emperor has decided to take it upon himself to challenge Earth's warriors. The movie ends with Raiden and the fighters taking their battle stances, ready to face another threat to save the world. The movie shows that against the forces of evil, even if all hope seems lost, the forces of good will still arise to prevent it. It also shows that even the strongest warriors have their imperfections and fears to face and settle before they can fully overcome any adversary along the way. So I hope you do the same in the future and don't quit in the face of difficulties.